Welcome to The Walk, where we explore the journeys of worship leaders, artists, and creatives following Jesus, one song, one story, and one step at a time. Today, I'm joined by someone whose passion for revival, prayer, and worship is contagious. He's worked with Damascus Worship. He's a national speaker and a worship leader who's helped lead over 100,000 young people into encounters with Jesus across the country. His viral hit, Counting My Blessings, has racked up millions of streams, climbed the charts, and become an anthem for believers around the world. He's been featured on Relevant Magazine, K-Love, and The Christian Beat, and more. But my favorite thing is his heart behind the music, which is even more powerful than the music itself. Let's take the walk with Seph Schlueter. But right before we do, here is a quick note from our friends at Planning Center.
Hey everybody, Aaron Stewart here, co-founder of Planning Center. I'm excited to share a couple of updates we've just released to make serving your teams even easier. First, in services, we've rolled out updated permissions that let you set specific permissions just for songs or media. So now you can give other leaders access to all the great scheduling and planning tools without giving them access to all your songs. And second, we're introducing shared dashboards, a brand new way for your planning team to collaborate. Now everyone can stay in sync from the first plan all the way to Sunday morning. We built these tools to serve you so you can focus more on ministry and less on managing.
Man, we love those guys over at Planning Center. You guys, please go check them out at www.planningcenter.com. That is www.planningcenter.com. All right, let's get back into it. Welcome to The Walk, man. How are you?
Let's go, man. That was quite the intro. You're my new hype guy. I'm gonna hire you. Let's go.
Let's go. I got you. Anytime you need a little boost, just call us.
Let's go.
We got you.
Perfect.
Man, I want to talk a little bit about your journey. It's been really cool to watch how God has just absolutely blessed your ministry, has blessed you as an artist. And I'm curious to know, can you walk us through sort of that turning point where you realized God was calling you into this worship ministry?
Yeah, man, it's kind of a crazy journey. I feel like, I grew up in an awesome faith-filled family, so faith was always like something important to me. And praying together as a family, and my dad would like lead worship on the guitar, and my younger brother's like, man, Dad, stop it. You sound like an 80s worship leader. Like just like all sorts of, stuff going on. But yeah, I feel like it was around high school when I really kind of was trying to figure out who God was to me and not just my parents,
Right.
Man, like, God, is this something for you? And around that time, I was really starting to get into music, and wasn't sure if it'd be a career thing. I kind of thought I'd honestly probably go like the entrepreneur business route because I love that kind of stuff. But kind of had this like secret dream of like I want to be the next Shawn Mendes and go viral on social media and then like get signed, all this different stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like playing music all the time, singing, all that stuff. And then around that time, like just wrestling with the Lord and what I really believed that music was really a big thing where I knew God was real in. And I feel like for me, the way I kind of articulated the best is all these songs that I was listening to or playing along to, Ed Sheeran, Adele, Shawn Mendes, whatever it might be, like all these songs like help you like experience something. But all of a sudden I found music that helped me encounter someone. And that for me was like so impactful because I felt like God was real and I knew he was real, but I was like, did he want to be close to me? And I felt like in worship music, in this type of music, like I'm like, man, like there's God. And it's crazy that I can sing a Mumford & Sons song all day long, but they're never going to show up in my room. But all of a sudden I can start singing a song about Jesus and he shows up in my room. And so I felt like for me, it was like, it's just cool. At that point in my life, I just knew I wanted to give everything over to the Lord, and I didn't know what that would be. I was just like, I just want to do something in ministry.
Right.
I didn't think I would ever really go on and do anything crazy with music because honestly, I didn't think I had a great voice or really knew what to do. Like it was kind of just like one of those things. It was like, I just want to serve. I don't know if that's being a missionary, or a youth pastor, or whatever it might be. Like I'm gonna do something. And then out of high school, I really started doing a lot of worship leading. And in that time, I felt like God just really showing me like, hey, I actually have like a call in your life for this. And I want you to like just surrender all these other things and just focus on serving me here and growing here. And so that's kind of what I did and brought me to where I'm at now.
Let's go, man. What a journey. Man, it's super cool to hear like that you felt like you were called from a young age. I know I'm somebody, I make music and lead worship, and that's something that I felt like I was called to maybe later in life, but it's really cool to see somebody that like from the jump has known like this is what they're meant to do. Maybe don't know exactly what it looks like, but know that that's what it's supposed to be. Man, that's really cool. We've got a ton of worship leaders and pastors and people in the faith that listen to this podcast, and a big part of the journey is doubt, right? And I'm curious to know, were there any moments where your doubt or your calling that you felt unequipped or maybe not ready? And how did you push through that?
Yeah. I think so much of it, dude, is like, um, is really honing in on the why behind things,
Yeah.
and surrendering the outcome. Like I love the phrase I've heard a couple of times, like our job isn't the outcome, our job is just the offering.
Come
And so
on.
like I think about that when a story I love to share is like is I remember the Lord just putting these two stories together to me and just showing me like, all right, you have this one story on the one hand, which is the loaves and the fish, right? This little
Mm,
boy offers loaves and fish. God multiplies
yeah.
it, feeds 5,000 people with it. It's crazy. And we all want to be that boy. We all want to be the
Yeah.
one who like, God, take my offering and do something crazy with it. But I love
Yeah.
this story too. Like there's a story, I think it's in Luke's gospel, one of the gospels, where it's just in one though, and it's the story of the widow and her offering. And
Mm,
she offers like one little coin in the treasury, and Jesus is like, I'm so loved by that because she's giving all she has. He didn't multiply it. He didn't, multiply that money to feed 1,000 people. It was just that offering. And I felt like for me, in my own journey, in my own process, I've had to come back to that
mm,
idea of like, I just need to give it to him, because whatever might happen, like whatever the outcome is, whatever, like, by outcome, I mean just like what the world may see. The
sure.
Lord just wants our obedience. My job isn't like to get famous. My job isn't to get streams. My job isn't to get on radio. It's like, if none of that happens, am I still okay? Am I still fine with that? And I remember just having a moment, because I felt like the Lord calling me to big things. I remember having a moment with him. I was feeling this wrestle in my heart. And I just went on a walk, and sometimes, just the best thing for me is just walking and
Come
talking
on.
to the Lord. And it's just
Yes.
like, all right, Lord. And I felt like I just heard him say like, hey, if I called you to be a garbage collector for the rest of your life, would you still be content with me?
Mm,
And it was just that, like, I'm like, honestly, oh, like I wouldn't be. Like, and that just revealed like a part of my heart. This was like in high school, like working for this ministry, and like it just showed me like this part of my heart that wasn't content in the Lord. And that's
man.
like a part that I just surrendered to him. And so I think just when you're going through doubt, you're going through whatever, I think it's like, why are you doing it? Are you doing it for recognition? Are you doing it for
Come on.
fame? Are you doing it for what? Or are you doing it because he asked you to? And if you're doing it because he asked you to, it honestly doesn't matter how you feel about it.
Yeah.
It's like an obedient thing. It's just like, you may be scared, you may be frustrated, you may be uncertain, but like, if he's called you to it, then you're called to be obedient and surrender the outcome to him, and just focus on being obedient in each and every given moment.
Come on. You better preach, bro. That's awesome. Man, it's really cool to hear you talk about spending that time with the Lord, and letting him sort of reveal the truth of what you're feeling in your heart. That's kind of become a practice for me in my day-to-day. Like up in the morning, my very favorite thing to do is just shut all the noise off, get away from my phone, turn off the music, and just sit there and
Yeah.
listen. And it's really crazy to see what kind of bubbles up from the surface of my heart, because I think, maybe I had a tough day yesterday, or maybe I got in a argue with my fiance. Maybe that's what I feel like will come to the surface. But then this thing that I didn't even know was there, sort of getting in the way between my listening to the King,
Yeah.
reveals itself. And so that stillness is so important, man. Thank you for sharing that. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
Man, it's you're doing this amazing thing that God's called you to do. Singing all over the place. You've got singles topping the charts, man. How do you prioritize like his presence over this performance? At the end of the day, it becomes a job at some point. You've got to leave your family, you've got to be on the road and be uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
how do you sort of like direct your mind and your heart and your spirit to stay with a priority on presence?
Yeah. I think it's a work in progress. I think if
Yeah.
anyone tells you they have it figured out, they're
Yeah.
probably either really, really holy or lying. Like one of the two. Because I think one thing that helps is that like daily showing up from like to the Lord. Like for
Yeah.
me, like prioritizing personal prayer is what allows you then to like seek God in like the public sphere later on.
Come on.
And I think so often we forget to like actually prioritize that, and
Yeah.
we like, oh, I'll fit it in here, and then one thing leads to another. We never end up doing it. And for me, it's become like, no, I will fit my day around this, because I know I need him. Like I need
Come
his
on.
guidance. I need his conviction. I need him to prune me. I need him to show me, like, again, what parts of my heart are locked in on him and what parts like I've wandered away. And I need that. And so I feel like that honestly is so helpful to me. Because it helps me stay connected to him throughout the day. So then when I go on stage, I think sometimes it's like now I turn on the God switch. It's like that's not gonna work for you, you know.
Right.
It's like you have to like continually grow in it. And even then, still sometimes like there have been times in my time where I'm leading worship on stage or doing something, and I'll walk away from that time and I've been like, man, I did not think about the Lord. I sang words about the Lord and my mind was all over the place. I didn't think about the Lord, you know. And it's just like in those moments, I think sometimes when those happen, like we can fall into shame.
Right.
But it's just like, no, like, all right, cool. What am I going to do? I'm going to go to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, I repent for just focusing on other things other than you. I'm so sorry. And would you just give me grace to like help stay locked in on you in the future? And you just keep coming back to him and let his grace like just continue to like work on you. And I think that for me, like those two things are just like praying. And then like when it doesn't happen, like just offer that to the Lord. Talk to God about what was it on your heart that kept you so distracted. Was it trying to seek attention? Oftentimes, like for me, it's been I'm so focused on other people encountering God that I forget to encounter him myself.
Dude, examining your heart is so important. Man, I appreciate you being honest. I feel like sometimes people get up and they want to talk and look like everything's perfect. But man, what a refreshing thing to hear people that are doing things at your level struggle with the same things that we do. I think that's really, really special. We're all human beings. So, man, okay, I want to steer the ship a little bit of different directions. I want to talk Counting My Blessings. Man, what an amazing song. You kill it. It's such a like a rhema word for people now. We need that song, bro. So thank you for being faithful to let it be birthed through you. But what inspired it? How and why do you think it connected with so many people? It seems like it kind of just like blew up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I still like don't even really know. I think like in terms of like where it came from. I mean, I was writing with two other amazing writers, and it's so funny. Even just like writers are some of the most humble people because they like songs wouldn't exist without them,
right?
And yet their names aren't even on it, like for most people to see. And it's just crazy. So like. I'm just so grateful for these guys. Jonathan Gamble and Jordan Sapp are their names. Incredible writers. And Jonathan basically came in. Yeah. Jonathan came in with like basically the whole chorus of Counting My Blessings. So even then it's like crazy because I'm like, bro, like I was just lucky. I just happened to be in there like the room. I mean, obviously then we all worked on it and like, you know, all contributed to it. But like he came in with this idea and it felt like it resonated because we all felt like we were living in the answer to prayers we had prayed years ago. So years ago we had prayed for this to happen in our families, in our careers, and in our like marriages or relationships, or whatever it might be. And like we're living in the answer to it, but so often we forget to actually pause and thank God because we're too busy chasing the next dream and the next goal and the next big thing. And so I think like for us, it was kind of a song, like as you're continuing to write it, it was like, let's write a song that just like helps us pause and like thank the Lord. So that like whether it's like an easy season or a hard season, like we get in the habit of actually just like thanking him and encourage people to do the same. And I think that whole idea is just resonating with people so much because I think gratitude obviously is something that everyone can understand. But I think increasingly it's always funny. I always laugh when scientific studies like show something that Christians have known forever. It's like breaking news, gratitude, good for you.
Like,
we're
been there.
Yep,
We've understood.
We've known this for a long time. But you have like all these things coming out about gratitude, and specifically, there's a lot coming out about how gratitude and like anxiety like can't coexist. So. Like it's funny because Paul literally said that. He's like, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything give thanks. You know, like,
come on.
Like just these things. And I feel like we live in such an anxiety driven world, in such a depressed world, in such a sad world that like all of a sudden, you know, when you're reminded like, hey, guess what? You actually do have blessings. You have things like that you can be grateful for. Honestly, like one of the craziest things to me is the song, the ways that people will use the song or share the song that has to do with tragedy. And it's like a loved one passing away, or you know, or like, hey, they lost their home, or they lost whatever it might be, and people are using the song, and it's crazy to see because it's like all of a sudden, but for them, it's like there's something that's speaking to them, like, man, yeah, I lost my grandma or I lost my mom, but like I'm so great. Her life was such a gift, and I'm so grateful. Or man, I lost my home, but praise God, I still have my kids, and like this, and like I think there's just something about it that reminds people of what really matters at the end.
Wow, man, that is so powerful. It's the craziest thing when you get in the songwriting room, and then all of a sudden there are people that you just put this like blessing in their mouth to sing out over themselves. That's really, really special, man. speaking of songwriting, like what does that process look like for you? Like on a practical note, I know there are people that would love to hear about what that process is like.
Yeah, I'm like, I think number one for me is it's never the same twice. You know that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like every songwriter is a little different. I think I have like a whole notes thing on my phone and like a whole memos thing, and I'm just constantly jotting ideas or song titles or whatever,
Yeah.
and just like throwing things out. So I think like I'm always thinking through if I'm like sitting down to write a song, the first thing is like, is there anything like on my mind right now or on my heart right now or something the Lord spoke to me in prayer recently that like is really inspiring. And I'll kind of go there, and if it's and sometimes there's like a lyric or a title that like fits that, or sometimes I'll just get like a melody that feels like what I'm feeling, and I'll just kind of build it from there. I think it's just kind of like you build it in that place, and and you see what happens. So I'll use an example. I was this is probably a month ago, maybe 2 months. We were talking. We on tour. We stayed at this It was like the one hotel we stayed at that was like somehow we ended up there, and we shouldn't have ended up there.
Yeah.
Like smells like everything. Really nasty, all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what happened? How does this go? And we're all just like, all right, is what it is. And we're like leaving, and I was just like, man, let's just shake off the dust from that one, And all of a sudden, my songwriter brain goes, shake off the dust? That's super cool. Let's write a song. I'll write a song called Shake Off the Dust. So I think part of it is like staying curious, staying aware, like always being ready for like an idea to come, and just like thinking in that context. And I'm also like thinking about what music am I inspired by right now? What am I listening to that like excites me? And like, okay, there's this song. Well, what about that excites me? Oh, I think it's just like the cadence to it, the way like how fast it changes chords or how fast it does this or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, well, let me try that with this. And so that kind of feels like it could fit in that vibe. So all of a sudden I start playing a chord progression, and then I start just fleshing out the idea of like, all right, what is it like? Shake off the dust. I think that seems personal. Like I'm gonna like tell some personal stories that kind of people could see themselves in about trying to share Jesus with someone and getting flipped off or whatever it might be, And at least the version I have now, which I don't know if will end up being the final version, literally has something like flipped me off in the lyrics, and I'm like, I don't know if radio will ever take that, but who really cares?
That's right.
And so just to kind of share like that, like that's an example of idea comes. I kind of start to like just toy around with like what does the overall picture look like? What can it sound like melodically? And then like just kind of like tying lyrics into that too. So I think those things are all really like, I mean, again, nothing is the same, but a general process is like idea, and then you just kind of start to flesh it out. And one of those things will usually stand out, either like a fleshed out idea, a melody line, or like a lyric. And I'll kind of just start to build from there. And then I think also just on like, I try to write every day in some capacity. Very rarely get a song every day.
Yeah.
Very, very,
At least you tried.
But like, right. But if I'm in Nashville, I'm like, in rooms, and then also you have to get a song, and then like whatever. But in terms of like day-to-day rhythm or day-to-day life, like I'm trying to at least write a little bit every day so that I am, I'm growing that muscle. And then another thing that I always tell songwriters too is like finish songs, because like even if like I'm writing a song right now, and I'm like, I don't know if this is ever gonna like, be good. But idea came like 2 days ago. Made some progress on it, but most of the time it's like if I know it's not going to go anywhere, I'm just like, I'm going to cut it out. I'm not going to finish it. But then all of a sudden what happens is when you do have a good idea, you feel stuck midway through because you haven't actually gotten in the practice of like finishing something. And so I think like even if you're starting to write something and it's not great, there's a muscle that's built and developed by just finishing it that like actually shows you how to finish a song. All of a sudden when you have a good idea, you're able to like, take it to the finish line because you're used to doing it instead of getting stuck as quickly.
Let's go. That is such a lesson, I think, in life. When it gets hard, like just push through, right?
Yeah,
and something
totally.
Usually comes from the other side of it. And it's also cool to hear the story about like your crazy dusty hotel room and then shaking off the dust. I feel like there's so many cool song ideas that come from just like existing. I did a little like radio tour thing with my label, and this guy came up to me and he was like, man, I just want to thank God. I've gone through all this stuff and I've still got my hallelujah. And I was like, I'm writing that, like locking that in. Still got my hallelujah. Could be a song idea. So anyways, man, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
so,
man.
We've got a ton of like younger worship leaders that are aspiring, and I'm sort of on this journey to maybe be a Seph Schlueter one day. What advice would you give to like the young people listening, or the young creative, as they're on this like journey to trying to walk in their calling as a worship leader?
Yeah. I think I got 3 things that come to mind immediately. Number 1 is like, and we were just talking about this, but stay rooted in the Lord. Like stay praying. Like, you can't lead people where you haven't gone. You gotta stay rooted and connected to that. I think number 2 is I love the word passion because passion means, I think sometimes we think passion, we think just like a quick fleeting thing, but passion means to suffer for or to suffer with. So if you're really passionate about something, it means you're willing to suffer for it. And so I think that's what a lot of aspiring musicians, songwriters, worship leaders, artists don't realize is like, you're going to suffer for this. And are you ready for that? Like, are you willing to put in the hours it takes to get really good at your craft? Are you willing to set aside time in your schedule to like actually try to write every day, knowing you're going to write some crappy songs? Are you willing to play shows to like really small rooms? Are you willing to like, put in the grind on whatever it might be, social media, songwriting, voice lessons, whatever, all the things? It is a sacrifice. And so it's like, I think sometimes people want like the easy shortcut fix and like, oh man, I'm going to be an artist. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be easy. And I just need one thing to blow up on TikTok and then I'm set for my life. It's like, that doesn't usually work. I mean, maybe you might be one of like the super small percent of people that work, but like, even like for me, like my song blew up on social media, but there was years of work that preceded it that nobody sees. They just see a new artist blows up. It's like, no, I've been working for a long time.
This was not an overnight success. This was many years of working for it, man. Yeah, that's great to hear.
Yeah. So I think just like, if like advice is like, find what you're actually passionate. What are you willing to suffer for? What are you willing to work hard at? And then just do it. And don't make excuses and like go after it. Like, be a hard worker. And then finally though, the final thing that I think is also a huge piece is serve. Like, find a place where while you're waiting, you can just serve. I think like
so good.
Every major character in biblical history had like a season of like just being developed and like being low, and like David as a shepherd, and like Moses was actually in the wilderness for a while before he went back to Egypt, and Jesus himself worked as a carpenter for 30 years, but we like try to like be like, man, I just want my instant success. Like, no, find a place where you can just like serve and like die to yourself, because like Jesus says, unless you throw your life away, you're not going to find it. So find a place where you can like throw your life away, where you can just like let go of it. Like, don't squash your dreams, but surrender them to the Lord. Be like, God, I give this to you, your timing, your plan. Meanwhile, I'm just going to serve. I love the analogy I've heard. I think Christine Kane was the first person I heard use it. She talks about the dark room. And this is like, there's a place, like you have to like take pictures and have them developed and whatever. And you put them in this room, this development room, and it had to be completely dark, because if light got in too early, it would ruin it, and if they got exposed to the light, it would ruin the picture. And I think the Lord you need to go through a season of being in the dark room, of being in a place where God's just developing you, and he's working on your character, and he's working on your humility and your formation and all that stuff, so that when you actually have exposure, when you're exposed to light, like, you're not going to crumble and you're not going to be ruined by it. Like, you have a foundation built there. So I think just pray, be a hard worker, and serve are kind of my three biggest things for people.
And suffer. Woo, that is such a word. Man, wow, yeah. Listen up, kids. That's what we need. We gotta suffer to make it somewhere in the kingdom. That is just the truth. Man, okay. So to wrap up, we've got a couple like quick fire, fun questions.
Let's go.
Let's do them. Okay. What is your favorite worship song right now, and what is your favorite secular song right now? Are you even listening to secular music? Let's hear.
Yeah. Favorite worship song, Highlands. I'm like on a big Highlands kick, like the old Hillsong song that Ben Hastings did. I've been like have that on repeat pretty much nonstop. I love that one. Secular song, man, I feel like goes all over the place. Depends on the day of the week. I really love Cry by Benson Boone. It's a really fun one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, a little Benson, a little backflip. Let's go.
Working on the backflips.
Working on the backflip. Okay, good. So what is your go-to coffee order? That's the next question.
Go-to coffee order is, I typically always look for what like seasonal drinks or like fun drinks that they have. So I'm like always like, I love trying new things. So it's like, oh, you have like a fun new menu. I've never had this drink before. I want to try it. So go-to is something I haven't had before is what I'll go to. If it's just like a Starbucks or something like that, typically it'll either be like a matcha sweetened with honey or just like a simple vanilla latte.
Big matcha guy over here. I love it. Okay, if you weren't doing music, what would you be doing? What career would you be in?
I would probably be either like an entrepreneur. I love like business things. I love like that whole thing. And then either an entrepreneur or a CIA agent. I think working in the CIA would be so fun.
Let's go.
Little James Bond action.
Yeah, I can see it. You could the hair, you can disguise. Yeah, I'm there. Okay, what is one thing you always forget to pack for tour?
Oh my gosh, there have been once or twice where I've forgotten deodorant. Just forget it, and Not a good thing. Not a good thing to forget when you are on tour and sweating a lot. You know.
Yeah.
So don't forget your deodorant.
Yeah. God, I'm still counting my blessings.
Yeah, just like
Okay.
no,
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
no, I was just gonna say it's like you can't lift your arms. Nobody's allowed to smell.
They're like, why did he just praise like this the whole time?
Praise the Lord.
Yeah. Okay, last one. What is your most used emoji?
Oh, the smiling, crying face, like the laugh so hard you're crying. I feel like that's
Yeah.
the one.
I love
You know,
it.
that's probably the most typical one, but I feel like that is probably the one I'll use the most.
Yeah, I love it. Mine's usually either the pray hands or like the little dancing guy, purple dancing guy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Let's go.
yeah. That's a good
Awesome. Well,
one.
man, thank you so much for sharing your heart. We are so blessed by getting to spend some time listening to how God's just moved through your life and your ministry and to glean a little wisdom from Seph Schlueter. This has been The Walk with Seph. Thanks for coming, man.
Dude, thanks so much for having me. Blast.